and I was sitting on an inventory of 500 pairs with no idea of how to sell this now because जो मेरे buyers थे वो मेरे buyers रहे नहीं. With some boxes in the boot of my car, I shifted to Delhi.
You know, building a sustainable business on social, just online is very tough. Why do you say this?
पैसा देखो जब जलता है तो बुरा तो लगता है. Coming back to making a website is the easiest thing. Marketing that website is when you actually have to start. And people don't talk about the kind of money that goes into getting people onto your website.
So what do you think, like what worked for them in terms of targeting the Gen Z so much? Because actually में देखा जाए तो थोड़ा ugly looking चप्पल है वो.
A customer only wants to be heard.
Personally, I feel performance marketing is like dead right now.
Retention is easy when your product is good. I think acquisition is tough. और आपका दूसरा राजकुमार राव ने कहना तो आपकी जो sales crazy हो गई होगी. Don't be relevant. Just grow. Just make sure that in your head you have told yourself that I have given my 100% and this is the best I could.
Speaker culture is like now slowly going down.
There was one time I was wearing your footwear and I got a compliment. How's that? Like I don't know why is that, just because we make beautiful shoes maybe.
Welcome back to yet another episode by Just Because. Today we have Abhishek with us from dmo.dot. dmo.dot has been a premium leather-based footwear shoe brand, and let's just get straight into it. Hi Abhishek.
Hi Muskan, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Very good.
So Abhishek, I have this burning question. You can tell a lot by a person by the shoes they wear.
Right.
So what do you think about this?
I think that's one of the sole reasons I started this company, because I think all of us have grown up to listening to this common statement like कि मतलब आदमी की पहचान उसके जूतों से होती है, correct? So like I think I feel the same. A shoe can actually make or break your outfit. And since a very young age, I was always like really fascinated by the different kinds of shoes. बचपन में आपको इतना मतलब एक्सेस नहीं होता है, राइट? सो यू जस्ट सी इट थ्रू द शॉपिंग विंडोज एंड लाइक व्हेन यू आर ट्रैवलिंग विद फैमिली, और पैसा तो होता नहीं है तो आप बस देख ही सकते हो. सो शूज़ यूज्ड टू फैसिनेट मी अ लॉट एंड आई ऑलवेज लव्ड वेयरिंग गुड शूज़. मतलब तब बहुत कम होते थे, एक दो, बट जितने भी थे दे वर लाइक रियली क्लोज टू माई हार्ट एंड प्रेशियस पेयर्स दैट आई ओन्ड. सो या आई थिंक शूज़ are an important part of anyone's life, be it a man or a woman, and one should be really careful and thoughtful about the kind of shoes they wear, because that can tell a lot about you.
Got it. So it was your passion.
Absolutely. I mean, I think I realized it later on only, because subconsciously I think I always loved shoes, but do I want to sell it? Do I want to sell shoes or footwear? Is something that I realized really later in life, after I did a lot of other things. So yeah, I mean, shoes, I love shoes.
So when you say a lot of other things, can you throw some light on that?
So I never did any like specific course, or like I didn't do like a fashion related graduation. I did what most of the Indian children or like Indian students do at my age. So after completing my school, I went for engineering, and I did my engineering in Pune. And while doing my engineering, I think in the third year I realized that I don't want to work as an engineer. And when I completed it, I realized, okay, now let's just put a hard stop to it. Not going in for anything like this anymore. No more surprises. Let's just be aware of where we want to be. But I think awareness is something that happens while you are busy making mistakes.
Yeah, true.
पता तो किसी को भी कुछ भी नहीं होता. I mean, once you do it is when you realize whether you want to do it or you don't want to do it. So yeah, I've had my share of falls and
Experiences.
After completing my engineering, I realized that I have a knack for events. So I went to Bombay. I did a post-graduation diploma in event management. Then I worked in the same field, events field, for some time, and I realized that this is not working out for me as well. Is when I came back to my hometown, Agra, and yeah, that's when I was close to all the shoemaking people and the shoemaking access. Is when the old love for shoes rekindled again. And yeah, that's when I started picking up shoes from factory outlets and started selling it to my friends. Is when I realized, yeah, this is something that can be converted into a business. So it has been like that.
Yeah. So you started DMO 10 years back, if I'm not wrong.
So not DMO wasn't 10 years back. So I started, again, as I mentioned, I started selling shoes 10 years back.
Yeah.
So I wasn't selling it under any brand name. I was just picking it up from factory outlets and selling it. Then when I realized that this is working well is when I started a brand called Damarino back then. That meant a fashionably dressed man, which got rebranded to DMO in 2017-18. Yeah.
So help me understand, how did you went with your business journey to take DMO from 0 to 1? Because there's a lot of content based on कैसे brands grow करते हैं. There are so many podcasts, there are so many videos. पर तब कुछ नहीं होता था.
Correct.
कोई mentorship नहीं होती थी. कोई just, as you said, you're riding solo. So कैसी थी आपकी journey? Like, what was the 0 to 1 journey?
So I think it was quite a shocker and surprising at the same time, because होता क्या है ना, when you are young and you have an idea, आपको लगता है कि आप बस एक प्रोडक्ट बनाओ और बहुत अच्छा प्रोडक्ट बनाओगे तो वो बिकने लगेगा. तो मैं भी उसी थॉट प्रोसेस के साथ निकला था एंड आई वाज वेरी एक्साइटेड इन द बिगनिंग. तो मैंने सारा फैक्ट्रीज का रेकी किया, सप्लाई चेन में समझा कि कैसे बनता है. And because I had access to like people who were making shoes in Agra, because I am from Agra, so that was fairly easy. But picking up the right supplier was again a difficult job. तो पहले तो आदमी वहाँ पे धक्का खाता है सबसे पहले, because you make a couple of bad mistakes and you end up working with people which you don't know are genuine or not genuine. तो सबसे पहला तो बैटल वहीं पे आ जाता है कि आपको लगता है बन जाएगा, आसान होगा, बट वो होता नहीं है. सो या आई वेंट थ्रू दैट फेज वेर इन मैंने कुछ फैक्ट्रीज पे आई ट्रस्टेड देम एंड आई गेव देम माई मनी एंड द प्रोडक्ट्स डिडंट कम थ्रू. दैट वाज वन लर्निंग. देन आई रियलाइज ठीक है, आई नीड टू फाइंड अ नाइस सप्लायर. देन फाइनली व्हेन आई गॉट होल्ड ऑफ वन, आई वाज लाइक ठीक है, नाउ दिस इज द बैटल वन. हमने ऑर्डर डाला एंड वी मेड लाइक 400-500 पेयर्स एंड दे वर ब्यूटिफुल पेयर्स. तो एंड व्हेन आई गॉट द फर्स्ट लॉट, आई वाज लाइक वाओ यार, ये तो बहुत अच्छे जूते हैं और ये तो बिक जाएंगे. अभी तक क्या था ना, बिफोर आई स्टार्टेड माई ओन ब्रांड, आई वॉज सेलिंग थ्रू फैक्ट्री आउटलेट्स. एंड व्हेन यू आर सेलिंग थ्रू फैक्ट्री आउटलेट्स, I was selling brands. I was selling brands like all UK brands, and people were ready to pay for that brands. And मेरे को क्या लगा कि जब मैं अपना ब्रांड चालू करूँगा तो same people who are buying from me will end up buying these pairs as well. But होता क्या है ना, जब आप अपना ब्रांड चालू करते हो ना, तो आपके जो फ्रेंड्स होते हैं ना, वो आई थिंक आपकी ऑडियंस है ही नहीं. दिस इज़ वॉट यू रियलाइज व्हेन यू स्टार्ट योर ओन ब्रांड, बिकॉज जब आपका ब्रांड बन जाता है तो अब तो ये आपका ब्रांड है, आप फ्री में दो अपने फ्रेंड्स को. Is when I realized that I think I made a big mistake depending on my closed ecosystem for sales. And अभी मैं आगरा में ही था and I was sitting on an inventory of 500 pairs with no idea of how to sell this now, because जो मेरे buyers थे वो मेरे buyers रहे नहीं, and I had to find a new set of people जो actually जिनको product का value समझ में आए. तो बस आगरा में तो बिक नहीं सकता था क्योंकि आगरा में तो एवरीवनस मेकिंग शूज़. तो इज़ व्हेन आई रियलाइज इट्स टाइम टू लाइक मूव आउट ऑफ आगरा एंड लर्न सम सेल्स वेज टू लाइक मेक सेल्स, मार्केटिंग, ब्रांडिंग क्या होता है. आई थिंक दैट्स व्हेन माई जर्नी स्टार्टेड. एंड तब मैं सारा इन्वेंट्री आगरा में था, एंड विद सम बॉक्सेज इन द बूट ऑफ माई कार आई शिफ्टेड टू दिल्ली एंड आई स्टार्टेड स्टेइंग इन दिल्ली एंड आई स्टार्टेड वर्किंग फ्रॉम सोशल. तो सोशल तब नया नया चालू हुआ था. इट वॉज लाइक वर्क स्पेस, को वर्किंग बेसिकली. ड्यूरिंग द डे इट वॉज को वर्किंग एंड ड्यूरिंग द नाइट इट यूज टू बिकम लाइक अ nice gig place, party place.
Hoskas one.
Correct. The Hoskas social. So I started working from there, and I think every sale that I did was very difficult, because when you start a new brand, and तब हमारा website नहीं था, तब performance marketing का कोई knowledge नहीं था, and ना SEO का नॉलेज था, बिकॉज एवरीथिंग हैड टू बी लर्न, और पैसे भी नहीं थे दैट यू कुड हायर लाइक एक्सपीरियंस्ड, बिकॉज सारा पैसा इन्वेंट्री बनाने में जा चुका था. नाउ द ओनली वे यू कुड गेट मनी वाज बाय कैशिंग आउट दैट इन्वेंट्री, राइट. तो वो कैशिंग ऑन का जर्नी चालू हुआ. एंड आई रिमेंबर मैं सोशल में लोगों से मिलता था, एंड देन आई यूज्ड टू they used to ask me कि क्या करते हो आप, and then when I used to tell them कि ठीक है, I make shoes, I'm running this brand, we make like handcrafted footwear of the highest quality. And when I used to sell them my brand, they used to get very excited, and the first question was, where can I try them? And then I used to tell them, oh, I have some in my car. I can make you try some shoes if you are interested. And yeah, I used to take them to the parking lot, show them the shoes that I have, and like sell it there. So that experience was quite, I would say, humbling.
Yeah.
And like it was an experience, sales experience, because that's when I realized, and I started learning what my customers are actually looking for, what people are actually looking for. And this is how it started, from like sitting on an inventory of 500 pairs to realizing it will not sell. While knowing that it will not sell like this, I had to make a decision to shift to Delhi with some pairs in my car, and I started selling like one pair at a time back then. This is, I think, 2016, maybe 16, 15, 16.
Like, what does your consumer buy for? Like, is it the price? Is it the design? Is it the craftsmanship? Or like, is it the brand now?
I don't think so. I won't say they buy for the brand also right now, because as a brand we are in a very nascent stage. Abhi matlab branding is
It's always a journey.
It's always a journey. It's an ever evolving space. Matlab, as a brand is like I see brand as a person. It's like constantly changing, like with time. Every 5 years you have to like adapt to the new ideologies, the changes. Our consumers currently, they buy for the design that we have, and the quality that we give at that price, plus comfort. If shoes are not comfortable, there is no repeat purchase. So I mean, comfort is something that they eventually get to experience once they are sold on design and price, and then they try comfort. And I think comfort is something on which the repeat purchase happens. But currently I think they are buying for design and price, probably.
And price.
Quality, basically. Quality is also again something they would really experience once they've placed the order. But for people who are walking into my store, they are definitely buying for the quality and comfort.
Quality and comfort. So when did you open your store?
We opened our store last year, February 10th, 2024.
So it's been 1 year.
Yeah, we just completed 1 year, and it has been a great 1 year. I think amazing learning, because before that we were a totally online brand, and online, I think, is something that's really difficult to sustain in the current scenario. Is when we realize that because we are a footwear brand and we need to make sure that people can actually experience, touch and feel kar sakein wo product. So yeah, we opened up our first store, and yeah, all the people who walk into our store, they are really happy and amazed by the kind of quality that we are giving at the price that we are giving, and the collection that we have. I mean, we position ourselves as all occasion footwear brand. We make footwear for every occasion. I mean, you come into our store, you can buy a footwear for your office, you can buy it for a wedding, you can buy it for mehendi, sangeet, cocktail, regular life, Goa, vacations. So yeah, we kind of cater to like all kinds of requirements.
So circling back to what you said, that building a sustainable business on social, just online, is very tough. Why do you say this?
I think building on social, practically as per se, not social, I would say stuff. See, you can make a brand on social that doesn't cost you any money. But pushing that brand is what actually where the money is involved. And right now, so when I started doing ads through Meta and Google, the cost at which I was buying those ads at that point of time was really, I think, 1/4 of what it is right now. आज मुझे लगता है कि अगर मैंने ये brand तब scale कर दिया होता, तो कितना cheap cost पे scale हो जाता compared to what it is right now. I think because the ecosystem right now is very populated, I must say, with the kind of advertisers that have come in, and there are people with deep pockets. So like if you are trying to make a brand by push marketing is by constantly pushing your ads through Meta and Google. Push marketing is very expensive right now, and as I mentioned that जो मेरा cost था 4 साल मतलब जब मैंने start किया था वो 4 times हो चुका है already cost, and there are so many advertisers with such deep pockets that you can't even stand against them. And, I mean, even if your product is really good and you are dependent on Meta, you'll have to actually push a lot of money and you'll be burning a lot of money. So I think for awareness it's good, but it's not a sustainable strategy.
Not at all.
It's not at all a sustainable strategy because by the end of it, अगर आपने 100 प्रोडक्ट बेचे और आप इवेंचुअली बिजनेस क्यों करते हैं इंसान?
प्रॉफिट के लिए,
राइट? और आप ये रियलाइज करो कि आपने 100 प्रोडक्ट बेचे और हर एक प्रोडक्ट पे आपको 100 रुपए का लॉस है. सो व्हाट्स द पॉइंट ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस? लाइक for someone like me, I mean, I'm a very profit oriented business person कि मुझे लगता है कि if I am investing my time and energy और मैं कुछ बेच रहा हूँ तो कुछ प्रॉफिट होना चाहिए, be it like even 5% or 2%, even 1%. But selling it at a loss right now, I mean, it's debatable because a lot of brands, they go for market share. And making a loss on every sale or year on year or like month on month actually is a very demotivating experience. It's a very demotivating experience for a founder is what I feel, because then you have to constantly keep explaining to yourself first, I think, कि क्यों कर रहे हो आप ये, and you are also putting in your hard earned money. I mean the money that you could just use for so many other things. तो पैसा देखो जब जलता है तो बुरा तो लगता है. ऐसा नहीं है कि किसी को भी अच्छा लग रहा है कि I mean of course future vision होगा कि ठीक है मैं इतना बड़ा ब्रांड बना लूँगा, and eventually because all these roads eventually lead to a fundraise, getting more funds and burning more money, right? तो बट जब तक खुद का पैसा बहुत सारा जल रहा होता है ना तो बुरा तो देखो काफ़ी लगता है,
चुभता है.
तो या I mean social ecosystem right now is difficult for people who don't have like deep pockets. I won't suggest them to like really depend on social media. I mean, be present there, work on really great content, work on adding value, creating value, and वायरल भी ऐसे सब कुछ नहीं हो जाता, वायरल करने में भी पैसा लगता है. Like all these content strategies that we see and we see things going viral, ऐसे ही overnight कुछ भी viral नहीं होता until unless it's what the fuck or like it's like wow. तो उसके बीच का जो content है वो बीच में ही लटका रहता है.
Personally, I feel performance marketing is like dead right now.
It's not dead. I think
for a new,
it is very tricky.
Yeah, it's very tricky. Like if you have a lot of money, one, and if you are like thoda sa established that people can stop on your ad depending on the logo they see, then it's fine. But you know, if you're a new brand and you're just exploring your way, thinking ki chalo we'll make some money, so it's very tricky. Like go on marketplaces instead.
Absolutely. I've told this to a lot of people who tell me कि मैं अपना ब्रांड लॉन्च करना चाहता हूँ और करना चाहती हूँ, एंड लाइक ओके आई एम प्लानिंग टू डू अ वेबसाइट, एंड आई टेल देम यू नो व्हाट, मेकिंग अ वेबसाइट इज द इजीएस्ट थिंग टू डू. ठीक है, बट what you are not realizing right now is how will you get people on your website. That's where the actual journey of making a brand starts. कि आपने website तो बना दिया, it's like making a store in some dark corner, and no one knows about that store. Now you have to put in money to let people know about that store, right?
People are willing to travel to that store.
Correct. For that you need to shoot good content, for that you need to make great creatives, that when people are, and then also strategize and figure out who your target audience is. Coming back to making a website is the easiest thing, marketing that website is when the actual hustle starts. And people don't talk about the kind of money that goes into getting people onto your website. So that's what I tell people also, that if you want to start a brand, ideally you should start it on a marketplace, because marketplace already has that kind of distribution. उनका reach है, वो आपका product लेंगे and they will put it in front of like so many people, right? And you don't have to worry about logistics, you don't have to worry about marketing, you don't have to worry about a lot of other things that you'll have to worry about when you start your own website. And these are all the costs that balloon up, and eventually you realize that आपने loss में product बेचा है. But marketplace is a profitable venture. Unless you are again spending on marketing there as well, then I think it becomes a break-even activity. But yeah, I feel when you say that yes, marketplace is a better approach, I agree to that. Marketplace is a better approach.
So how do you increase customer retention now in such a cluttered market?
I think customer retention.
सब लड़ रहे अभी.
Retention, so I think retention is easy when your product is good. I think acquisition is tough. Retention is fairly easy, because once you've acquired the customer, you have all the customer details and the customer has already used your product, right? And of course, say if you are buying a shoe from say a brand, you've already tried like a couple of other brands. So you always have that comparative analysis के ठीक है ये अच्छा है और ये अच्छा नहीं है. So I think retention, the way to increase retention, the easiest way to do that is make sure that your product is bang on.
Yeah.
It is solid. It is exactly what you promise your customer. Okay, it should be exactly as what your promise is. Okay, if you are calling your product comfortable, it should be comfortable. If you are calling it great quality, it should be great quality.
Know that you'll 100% get a repeat.
Absolutely, that's where retention comes in. Acquisition is difficult, because acquisition the creative has to be right, the targeting has to be right, and the messaging has to be right, and the frequency of ads has to be right. But once that customer is in, then I think you can just keep telling them about what you are doing and so once you've acquired the customer, I think the retention strategy lies in making a deeper connection. So, and how can you make a deeper connection is by constantly updating that customer about what is happening with your brand, what are the new styles that you've launched, how can they take care of what they've already bought. So once it's like you make a friend and then you nurture a friendship. Right, so if you nurture that friendship, that friend is going to stay with you forever.
Yeah.
Unless you fuck up. Yeah, and even if you fuck up, you can actually, because everyone's human and everyone goes through like times when no one's perfect. But even if you fuck up, if you own up to it and make sure that you do it right for that customer, I think retention automatically keeps on rising. For us, it's very simple. Once you've sold it to the customer and the customer has shown trust in your brand, make sure that you always reinforce that trust and not break that trust.
Retention is also like how important you make your customer feel.
Absolutely. I think पता है customer को क्या चाहिए मुस्कान? What I feel is a customer only wants to be heard.
Yeah.
ठीक है? What's happening in the current age and scenario, what I feel is that everyone's getting so stuck in these automated responses and the human touch is lacking in most of the brands. I mean, if you see the major problem that a lot of people have is that they are not able to interact with someone where they can actually tell their problem. Right?
Yeah.
Zara automated, everything's AI, right? And all the responses and the customer grievances that are happening, they are through automated responses.
Yeah, 1 second replies.
And a customer can have a new problem or like a very genuine issue that can only be understood if a person is trying to understand that, right? But if you hear the customer every time the customer has something to say, I think the customer will feel valued, and the more you make your customer feel valued, the longer they are going to stay with you.
I was seeing on your Instagram that there's a huge celeb following for DMO, from like Shahid Kapoor to Rajkumar Rao to Ayushmann Khurrana. Everyone has been wearing DMO. So how has the celeb factor helped your brand?
I think that's I think a very great understanding and like I think a very great research on the brand too. I think a lot of people actually are very curious about that K, and the very common question that I get asked is like, oh my god, आपका जूता राजकुमार राव ने पहना था तो आपकी तो सेल्स क्रेजी हो गई होगी, या शाहिद कपूर ने पहना था तो वाओ यार ये तो बहुत क्रेजी हो गई होगी. But the reality here is that of course I am really happy and thankful that so many people, like so many renowned celebrities, have been spotted wearing dmo.dot footwear, and nothing brings me more joy than seeing a new face or like a really known person actually sporting one of our creations. But how it helps is I think it really plays with the consumer psychology in terms of creating that impact. I mean, it won't translate into immediate sales, but what happens is that it leaves a lasting impact on the customer psyche, right? Like if you've come across a brand, like if you've come across dmo.dot and you've seen the Instagram profile, and then you see that there are so many celebrities who are spotted wearing our product, then anytime, like maybe that won't translate into an immediate purchase tomorrow, but say next time when you think of a footwear that you are planning to buy for yourself, you will think of us. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point of all these branding and collaborative exercises, that we want to be one of the options, we want to be one of the options you think about when you are actually in that space of buying, when you are in that phase कि जब आपको खरीदना है तो हम याद आए आपको. That is what the main agenda is, and I think it plays, this celebrity placement plays a very vital role there, because I've been asked so many times how was the and people think that I've met all these people. Okay, you've met, so did you meet Rajkumar Rao? Oh, did you meet Shahid Kapoor? And I tell them, no, it's not how that works.
I think Bollywood factor also gives a lot of validation in terms of smaller cities. You know, tier 1 mein people are very aware that, you know, this is PR or like this is sourcing. Tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities में लगता है अच्छा ये तो own करता है, ये इनसे खरीदता है.
Correct. नहीं ऐसा नहीं है. There are times when people, so I get like a lot of orders from Bollywood celebrities also. I get like बहुत बार it goes like unnoticed. Like there was a time when I got an order from Ashneer Grover, and suddenly I was like, oh, Ashneer का order आया है, and I was like, okay. Then I like kind of cross-verified everything कि ये वही Ashneer Grover है या नहीं है, but turned out to be Ashneer only. So yeah, we've and then we've been giving him footwear post that. There is a cricketer called Ambati Raidu, and wow, yaar, I am such a fan of Ambati. Every time we launch a new chappal or a new open footwear, he always orders from us.
That's so cute.
Yeah, I mean, then there are so many people that I mean, if I start taking names, it'll be like, oh my god, why are you flaunting so much? But
why shouldn't you?
No, I generally try to keep it under wraps, because I don't know whether those people want to be named or not.
Like, what is your current customer demographic right now, the age group?
So currently the demographic that works for us right now is 24 to 34 is the highest, but the bigger demographic, if you see, it's 24 to 44. We don't make anything that's very flashy. We try to keep our designs very minimal and versatile. The idea that we have, Muskan, while we create every shoe, is that के जूता ऐसा बनाओ जो multiple occasions पे use हो पाए. Like if you buy a chappal from us, you can wear that chappal with kurta pajama, you can wear that chappal with chinos, you can wear that chappal with shorts, you can wear that chappal in Goa, of course not in water on the beach, but definitely if you are like going to a cafe or like somewhere. Similarly, simultaneously you can wear that chappal to house parties. So there is a lot of
versatility
that get catered to by buying that one piece of footwear. So there is a very common saying that people. So I remember I was once with a friend. I was traveling to Goa, and he was wearing one of our chappals, and he was like, "कि chappal में entry मिलेगी क्या मुझे?" And I told him that ये कोई ऐसा वैसा चप्पल नहीं, this is DMO का चप्पल, it's very stylish and classy, you will get entry, don't worry. And he actually got entry into that club wearing those chappals. And because ना chappals, when you talk about chappals, ना हमारे दिमाग में एक बहुत ही क्लासिक स्टीरियोटिपिकल बाथरूम स्लीपर का इमेज आता है, राइट? बट या हवाई चप्पल जो हम relaxo chappal or like all those chappals that we used to wear, but the times have changed now, right? Chappals are more about comfort, they are more about like easy use, where and like all the Indian outfits kurta pajama के साथ आप चप्पल ही पहनते हो, right? Mostly. And during the day also, for an informal function, you don't want to be wearing a shoe all the time. Like a stylish chappal does the job. So if you see the kind of collection that we do, I think we have the biggest collection of chappals, and they are so smart and versatile that you can use them for multiple occasions. The insights I would say that I have had from a lot of my customers is कि यार मैंने हमेशा इतने बार ये चप्पल पहना, इतनी बार मैं ये फुटवेयर पहना, मुझे कभी कॉम्प्लीमेंट नहीं मिला. बट देयर वाज वन टाइम आई वाज वेयरिंग योर फुटवेयर एंड आई गॉट अ कॉम्प्लीमेंट. हाउ इज दैट? Like I don't know why is that, just because we make beautiful shoes maybe, or like because it's so simple, minimal, yet it makes a statement is what I will say. Like it is not something that hides in plain sight, not plain vanilla, but something that is the vibe of plain vanilla but actually is black color.
Like is chappals your best seller category?
Currently, yeah. I think open footwear. Chappals and sandals is one of the best sellers category that we have. Then I think the second category that fairly does well for us is boots. And for us, sneakers also work for us. Like I would say they are the third highest selling category for us. Formal shoes is something that I also feel is boring only, because formal shoes is something that you wear generally in office or with like a suit. But how many times do you wear a suit? Like it's more.
So like as you're talking about chappals, I can't let this conversation slide without mentioning Birkenstocks. So what do you think, like what worked for them in terms of targeting the Gen Z so much? Because एक्चुअली में देखा जाए तो थोड़ा अगली लुकिंग चप्पल है वो. मतलब पहले होता था, मतलब पीपल हैड दिस थिंग दैट्स वेरी बोरिंग चप्पल, यू नो, आई डोंट लाइक बर्गनस्टॉक्स. बट लास्ट 5 years में इतना ज़्यादा पिक हो गया है वो. लाइक इवन द आई सी 18, 19, 20 years के बच्चे फ्लॉन्टिंग बर्गनस्टॉक्स. सो लाइक व्हाट डू यू थिंक वर्क फॉर देम?
आई थिंक Birkenstock, why it works. So first of all, Birkenstock is not a new brand, right? Birkenstock is like a 150-year-old brand. ठीक है, and Birkenstock has always been like really known, really famous for their arch support soles and the cork footbed abroad. Like in India, it's fairly new, because earlier people who were using Birkenstock in India were the ones who used to go to UK, US and get Birkenstocks from there, right? I think what worked for them is their knowledge since the time they've been existing. B, their marketing is very solid, on point, right? They talk about the flat foot, the arch support that it has. I mean, Birkenstocks are one of the uncomfortable footwears that we talk about, because there are so many people who have like this uncomfortable experience with Birkenstock. But I mean, it's so beautiful that how Birkenstock actually tells you that it's going to be uncomfortable for a week, then it will be the most comfortable chappal. And people somehow get sold into that idea, and when they start speaking their language, I think the power of a brand to translate that and translate every consumer into a salesperson is what.
अभी तो break in होगा.
Correct. And every time, I mean, even if you are in discomfort, you are just waiting for that break even point. Now that break even point might come for you in like months, or like 2 months, or maybe it never comes. It's like maybe in your head you tell yourself, oh, it's much more comfortable than it used to be right now. So I think the ability to turn every customer into a salesperson is what Birkenstock did very well. Plus, I think it's a great product also. In terms of the design first of all, because again a unique product always wins. Now you see so many people who are making actually cork sole slippers and cork sole chappals. Of course Birkenstock had the first mover advantage, they were the ones who introduced this. So yeah, I mean, the one who started it will always be at the top of the pyramid, right? And I think that that's something that works. Like initially they started with only cork sole chappals. Now they have diversified into everything. Now they are making mules, they are making boots, they are making loafers, they are making slides. So I think they also realized that after a point their chappal sales have plateaued because everyone else is started making cork sole chappals as well, and they need to diversify into more product category.
And colors, like
Colors was always, yeah, they weren't doing candy colors and other colors earlier, but now they've, and also the materials, they also have changed materials. Now they come in PU, they come in rubber, but same, it's also expensive, it's not cheap.
it's a very premium product.
It's a premium product. So but I love how they've created a cult around the product.
Yeah.
And, I wish we can do the same.
So, Abhishek, tell me, do you think the sneaker culture is like now slowly going down?
I think sneaker, as per se, the culture of these overpriced sneakers is definitely going down. But sneaker as a category, it's not. I think people are now becoming more aware about the value of money, and I think anyway this sneaker culture, like the most expensive sneakers and sneakers selling for like these exorbitant prices like 20 lakhs 30 lakhs, first of all it never made sense to me, to be
Yeah.
honest. I've never bought like a pair of sneakers that's more than like 10,000 rupees, to be honest.
Sneakers.
It's a phase, right? Because nothing's permanent, right? Today there's a wave for something, people will ride the wave, everyone will go gaga crazy, batshit crazy over it, and then that wave dies down, and then there is a new wave that comes in. Probably it dies down in like another 5-6 years and picks up again after 20 years. You never know.
I think as people we grow old from
Correct.
that phase, because I see that the high school के बच्चे 11 12 से फर्स्ट सेकंड ईयर तक अभी भी उस जोन में है. वो हर साल आगे बढ़ते रहते हैं, नए बच्चे आते हैं, फिर वो जोन में आ जाते हैं. सो आई थिंक वी ग्रो आउट ऑफ दैट फेज, बट द न्यूअर जनरेशन इज ऑलवेज इन दैट फेज.
Depends, no? Newer generation whether they want to adapt. So it all depends on whether the newer generation want to adapt to this current trend, or will they create a new trend of their own.
Yeah.
Right? What happens is जो older generation है वो तो tap in कर रही है Gen Z के trend पे. Like people who are 45-46 years old and buying sneakers that are 15 lakh रुपए के, they are just trying to be cool. Right? Because, and I think that's their way of connecting
To fit
with
in.
the younger.
So which Indian sneaker brand or like a footwear brand are you really excited for right now?
I think I'm really excited for the range of sneakers we are doing at dmo.dot. So when it comes to any footwear brand, I feel that I benchmark myself as like one of the best in my category, because we try to innovate, we try to make new designs, we try to keep our collection very different from what it is. Because if you see like so many brands, they are one or the other, like everyone's like trying to ape the West, and they are also doing that.
Have you seen Gully Labs?
Gully Lab is one of the original brands that I really like, and I really like their designs, and in terms of what the gully they have taken.
Yeah.
It's really great. I mean, I really like the collection they did with the hockey players, and recently also I really like their the way they name their shoes.
Yeah.
And the Kanta shoes also, which they did. I like the color combination. So Gully Lab is someone that I really like. Now if you've named them, definitely Gully Lab is one of the brands that I like, and because they are doing something that's really different, and they are standing up for Indian tradition and artists, and they have an Indian story, right?
It's been like almost a decade you are doing business, so I'm assuming you must have a lot of experience with hiring. So I have this question, that what is that one quality you look for a person during hiring, but that is not related to the field you are hiring for?
So the thing that I look for when I'm hiring someone is motivation in terms of how motivated that person is and how excited that person is. Like I want someone who's high on energy and bursting with ideas. That is, and that idea can be about anything. And that's what I keep telling whenever I'm doing the hiring is that, see, when I hire you, I am not I what I'm expecting from you is that you don't wait for me to give you instructions. You have to come to me with ideas. I shouldn't be telling you what you need to do. You are hired because you know what you do, right? So you need to be excited about what you do, and you need to be excited and self motivated on a daily basis. When you are doing that job, make sure you're doing 100% justice to yourself. That's what I look at, like how motivated that person is and how excited that person is. For me, energy is very important. You have to be really curious and motivated, and if you are not, you are demotivating the entire team, because everyone has to be the same energy, right? Because everyone's drawing energy from each other. If you are always like having fun and being energetic, people are drawing energy from you, you are drawing energy from people, right? Otherwise you become, if you are the one who is like that, not energetic, not curious, you are drawing energy from everyone else and draining them out of their energy.
Yeah.
So you can't be a part of my team, to be
Yeah,
honest.
the wavelength has to
Yeah,
match.
the wavelength has to match. And I mean, काम का क्या है यार, वो तो आप सीख जाओगे, and if you keep doing like whatever you're doing, you will get better at it with time. But you should be curious. You should know what you are doing. You should be ready to apply yourself. You should be very interested in learning new stuff. I mean, because what you are today, you will not be the same person tomorrow. And it's a choice. You can be the same person tomorrow, but then you will be left behind. Yeah. I read it in a book, a very simple statement yet so impactful, that how if you change the direction of a plane by 1 degree, I mean, the whole destination changes. So it's that 1% of improvement, incremental improvement on a daily basis, which can transform your life. So I think that is what.
Going like this.
Yeah, like the plane was supposed to go to India from LA, and you change it by 1 degree and it ends up in a very different destination. If you don't grow, you will, you क्या बोलते हैं आप, एविंटेज हो जाओगे आप. If
Relevance नहीं रहेगी.
yeah, if you have to be, and forget all these words, yeah, don't be relevant, just grow. Just make sure that in your head you have told yourself that I have given my 100% and this is the best I could. Matlab, there is no stone that I left undone. What I was yesterday, I applied myself and I am a better person than yesterday. I know a lot more than what I knew yesterday. I've done a lot more than what I did yesterday. So basically, yeah, that's what I'm looking for in any person that I work with or any person that I hire in my team.
Do you read a lot? As you mentioned, you read it somewhere.
I try to, like last year I was reading a lot. This year I'm still trying to find time for reading. But yeah, I try to like read half an hour every day, like half an hour, 40 minutes every day. I was reading this book, The Power of Atomic Habits. I didn't know the Power of Habit or Atomic Habits. I don't know.
Atomic Habits.
Atomic Habits. So it was about how you need to like have a discipline and how you need to like really, because habits now, they are a very subconscious level play is what I feel. Like you are automatic, you will wake up, your hand will automatically go on your phone, it will automatically come in your hand and you'll start scrolling. Before you realize, you have been down through that scrolling road for 15 minutes and you are doing mindless scrolling, right? So what I did was I changed my morning routine and I stopped keeping my phone beside my bed and I replaced it with my Kindle. So now every time I wake up, my hand goes and it picks up the Kindle. And then once I start reading, so again, it started with reading 1 page, then became 2 pages, came down to 10 minutes of reading, 20 minutes of reading. So now right now I'm at around like 25-30 minutes. Sometimes when the chapters go interesting, goes up to 1 hour. So yeah, I think I try to incorporate reading in my schedule because again, yeah, there are so many new perspectives that you get. I feel that I actually have changed as a person after I started reading, because reading gives you a totally different perspective in your life, and it gives you so many stories that you've never heard, right? And there are times when you end up reading a thing that you've been doing a lot in your life, and it validates your thought, and then you're like, oh, मैं अकेला नहीं हूँ. So reading actually gives you a lot of confidence, a lot of validation at times, and of course a new perspective. Definitely a new perspective.
Any book you'll recommend everyone reading once?
I don't know. I'm a very self-help
Fiction.
non-fiction kind of. I've read like very little non-fiction. Like one non-fiction that I read was Siddhartha. There's a book called Siddhartha where the guy talks to the river and how the river talks to him. It was insane. It actually blew my mind, and I was like, oh my god. Non-fiction is something that I'm more inclined towards. But I really enjoyed reading Peter Thiel's 0 to 1. I enjoyed reading The Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. You should, if you haven't read it, you should read it.
Really want to read it.
It's an amazing book of how Nike started and how the journey was, how Phil Knight went through like so many ups and downs in his life. So yeah, Shoe Dog is one of the interesting reads that I have done. Then yeah, Atomic Habits, The Power of Subconscious Mind.
Read Atomic Habits.
It's good, right? It's quite nice.
I think I pretty much got everything from this conversation. Just one last question we ask every guest is, what is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
I think the best piece of advice that I have read is a more relevant question. Received, I don't know, because it's like that perseverance and hard work is what counts eventually. So if you are really into something, make sure you give in your 100%, and make sure that you are disciplined about it, and give your hard work in. And there is a tipping point when everything will just turn into the scales will turn into your favor, but you don't have to give up. I mean, you have to like put in your 100%. So perseverance and hard work trumps everything is what it's the, what you said, what did you ask? Is the advice that I have read. Perseverance and hard work trumps everything.
So one last segment, I recently started experimenting with these games. So have you seen those Instagram games where I give you two options and then you have to choose one and like keep on doing that? Supposedly like I say Zara and H&M, so you say Zara. Yes, so it's with shoes.
Okay.
So I'll just, DMO is not in the list, so you can't be biased. So let's start.
Yeah.
So Dune or Aldo?
Dune.
Dune or Rosso Brunello?
Dune.
Dune or Woodland?
Dune.
Dune or Steve Madden?
Dune.
Dune or Zara?
I don't think so they are comparable, but again, Dune.
Dune. Dune or Massimo Dutti?
Massimo Dutti.
Massimo Dutti or Hush Puppies?
Massimo Dutti.
Massimo Dutti or Louis Philippe?
Massimo Dutti any day.
So we have a winner.
Yeah.
Massimo Dutti.
Yeah, Massimo Dutti is a great brand. Again, it's a brand by Inditex only. Like it's like a premium version of. It's like a but they do like really good stuff.
A very interesting reel I was seeing some days back about Massimo Dutti is that how they marketed themselves as a very old money brand. Actually, it's a fast fashion brand priced at a very premium price in comparison with Zara, that it has the Italian name Massimo Dutti. There's no guy like it. It's actually a fast fashion brand trying to be marketed in a premium sector.
It's much better quality than Zara. I mean,
of course,
Zara shirt, I remember every time I buy from Zara, I know that once I wash it, it's going to be like half the size of what it is. So now when I buy at Zara, my size is large. I buy XL at Zara. So once I wash it, it will turn into a large size shirt. So, but Zara quality is very bad.
3-4 सालों से ज़्यादा डिग्रेड कर दी अपनी.
I don't know whether they are cutting on costs or what, but the quality at Zara, I mean, the clothes, they are very tempting.
Yeah.
They,
Very
like, they
tempting.
just draw you in. I mean, every time, so I go to Select City Mall, my gym is there. So I am crossing Zara every day, twice, okay? And every time I come out of the lift and I see what's on the mannequin at Zara, and it just attracts me to the store, and I'm like, no, no. And it's expensive, it's not cheap. Actually, Zara is quite expensive as a brand. I think it is at par to, or sometimes more expensive than Uniqlo.
Yeah.
And I think Uniqlo is much better quality, but again, the kind of styles that Zara is doing, Uniqlo is not doing that.
Very tempting.
Zara is very attractive. I mean, every time you see a cool Zara shirt, you want to just. I'm wearing Zara.
This is also Zara.
I can't complain because Zara is like really, the clothes actually attract you to a different level altogether. Also, their VM is very tempting. Yeah?
How they've revamped now.
And so Zara also has this thing, na? They don't keep the same stock, right? You know about this. So Zara rotates their stock on a daily basis. So what you find in Zara today, you might not find in Zara tomorrow,
Yeah.
because that will come back into the store maybe after 3 days. So they keep changing the stock. How do I didn't know this, because I always thought that whatever's on the rack is always there in the store. Now, who would like take stuff out of the store and like put it in the storeroom and not sell it on that particular day? So I was buying something for my wife, and I had bought a piece of clothing, right? And I had to get a bit larger size in that. So when I came back to Zara the next day, I was looking for that piece, and I was like, yesterday it was just here. So I called one of the salesperson there, and I was like, I want a large size for this, and I cannot find it anywhere in the store. Where is it? That's when he told me, oh sir, we keep rotating our stock. I was like, what do you mean by you keep rotating your stock? This stuff, this particular jacket I just bought yesterday, right? Where is it now? Like, it's in the store, it will come back on the floor tomorrow. I was like, really? I mean, that's like really some strategies. So that's actually something that keeps the newness alive in the store. And every time you walk into a Zara store today, it'll look different. You walk into the store tomorrow, it'll look different. Then you walk into the store day after tomorrow, it'll look, so they keep changing the placement, and like what is there in aisle 1 today will be in aisle 10 tomorrow. So that's how they keep the newness alive.
I had a friend who was working with Zara's visual merchandise. So he was telling me that every Monday or every Thursday, especially the Select City wala store, they change the entire collection. I don't remember now it's Monday or Thursday, but every week पूरे store की collection बदलती है.
Exactly.
So if you want fresh garments, then go on a Monday or a Thursday.
Really? That's a great insight. I will keep that in mind. I also tell my friends around that if you want a new collection, you should go on Monday or Thursday.
I'm not sure which was
Monday तो होगा ही फिर.
एक था कुछ इनमें से, but
That's interesting.
yeah.
Quite nice.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming today and giving us your time. And we hope you had a lovely time.
Lovely. It was great chatting with you, Muskan, and definitely I had a great time, like sharing whatever I could, whatever 2 cents I could add. I mean, I'm also learning on a daily basis. So maybe next time when I'm here on the podcast, I'll have like some more 2 cents to
Yeah,
give.
definitely. I think our viewers got something out of this conversation, and see you next week.